a playlist original.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Back to the Blockbuster with your host, Gaius and Jackson. What is up, my friend?
Oh, not too much, my man. How we doing this week?
Everything's good. I had a really busy, full weekend and got a lot
Yeah, no
done.
doubt.
Yeah, well, we had like a pretty chill Friday. Like, I worked at the restaurant. On Fridays are like my longest days because I have to write in the morning and then like go into the restaurant at like 10:30 and I'm there until like 6:37 at night. I don't mind it on Friday because I get to just kind of like sail into my weekend if I want to. Like I just leave there and like
Yeah.
go meet up with friends. But like we're gonna try to do something different Friday. We're gonna go to like Top Golf, and it would have been a lot of fun. But like when we initially just tried to go, our friend said it was like a 15-minute wait to be on the wait list, and then like
Oh, okay.
within like 5 or 10 minutes, our friend texted us and was like, "Now it's an hour and a half wait," and I was like, "Oh." Okay. So we went there just to see like if maybe it wouldn't be as long as like you know they were saying, and we
Right.
were like maybe like an hour and some change in, and it was clear that we weren't gonna get like a spot, but maybe next time.
Shit, that's disappointing.
Yeah, we make a joke like every time we try to do something different and new, like it doesn't work out. It's like why didn't we just like go
Yeah,
to the pier? Yeah, we were just trying not to like go out to the bars on a Friday and just do something different. So
right.
hopefully next time we'll be able to.
Benefit of living in a smaller city. Like for me, like our city's got like a population of somewhere like 70, 80,000, and like it's rare that you're waiting in a line anywhere for about an hour. Like generally there's stuff and space pretty open, which is nice.
Yeah. But yeah, it was good. I mean, and then we went to our buddy's house and just hung out there and watched like a bunch of YouTube videos, like so many random ones, like about
That's the best.
natural disasters. I don't know. We were like watching them like a bunch of different shit. I was like, this is
Did you
Friday night, guys.
see did you see what happened in Turkey and Syria today? Yeah. Disasters
Like,
and crazy
yeah,
earthquakes.
yeah, it's
Too,
crazy. Yeah,
yeah.
it is crazy. Yeah,
Yeah. Thinking about
I mean,
them.
that's what we kind of have to worry about. I mean, haven't had a big one in LA in a really long time, but like that is what we do have when there is something like that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had like a little one like I think 2 weeks ago. It actually woke me up, but it wasn't that big.
Oh, I remember you saying that.
But it
Yeah,
like woke me
that's
up in the middle of
freaky.
the night.
Like, just
Yeah, you can like
yeah,
feel
living
like
like on the
that.
East Coast,
Yeah, that motion of
that
like,
would be weird.
and then like my even though the movie wall thing is like bolted into like the wall, like still weird
Oh,
to
that's a
watch
good
it like
idea.
it's weird to watch it like kind of lean forward like that because I was like, oh, don't fall, and I'm like I kind of forgot like oh yeah, it's bolted
If
into the
the
wall.
quake hit and all your like movies fell out, that would be a tragedy. That would suck.
Yeah, because well,
Be a bitch to clean up.
it's also right next to like the computer monitor, which is like here. So it would just all fall on
Yeah.
like my laptop computer monitor. It would just be horrible.
Uh,
I think I would just look at it for a while and like maybe cry and then clean it up.
it's so hard, like especially like if you have your movies arranged in a certain way, like to put them back in that order can just be such a time consuming like process. Like I've spent many hours putting my collection into like the way it is now, and I'm still not done working on it. Like I moved in here
Yeah,
like a year ago where I'm at now, and I've switched it up a couple of times, and it's a long process, especially considering how many you have. Oh my god.
yeah, it would be. I used to do the alphabetical order thing, and I had to stop
Yeah, me too.
because it was like I would get
Yeah,
new stuff, and then there'd be no room for it. So now it's kind of like organized by like genre a little bit rather than just trying to
that's
do it
cool.
by
I
like
like doing that.
so at least I don't have to worry about
That's
like putting the A's and the B's and the C's together, just like along the
it's
same genre.
easy, but it's yeah. But like for instance, like then you have like collections. Like for instance, what always bothered me is like my Dark Knight movies wouldn't be like anywhere near each other in that collection. Like I have
Right.
Batman Begins and B's, and then the Dark Knights.
Yeah.
I want those together. So eventually, I changed it up by director is kind of how I have them now.
Yeah.
Give or take like a few different changes, but it's fun to switch it up every once in a while.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, on Saturday, I had like one of my friends, Stevie, was in the area, and we hung out like super early. Like she texted me at like 8:30 in the morning. She was like, "Let's go," and I was like, "It's so early." But to know her and to kind of know us, sometimes like it's like, "All right, I'm pumped. Let's go out early. Let's do this." So we had like a day on Saturday. It was a really fun day. We ran into like a lot of our friends and
Oh,
had to
sweet.
call it. Yeah, my brother met up with us eventually that night too, and like we called it a pretty early night because we were out so early in the morning.
Right.
So just got home and like destroyed popcorn, fell asleep, and then I went out on Sunday for a
That
little bit for brunch, and then watched a lot yesterday. Like a lot of my watches were from Sunday. Just kind of got them all in,
okay? You got
and then yeah, and
multiple
then
movies, eh?
yeah, and then some from like this morning too, because I'm doing this guy Antonio. He has like the Cult Worthy podcast, and I'm a guest on that tonight. And
Oh, sweet,
we're doing like True Romance and Natural Born Killers. So I had to like rewatch that or
dude.
rewatch both of them.
That's an
Heavy, man.
awesome pair.
I haven't like watched those in so long, and like one True Romance. I mean, it's Quentin Tarantino wrote it and Tony Scott directed it.
Tony directed. That's right.
Yeah,
So
and like
awesome.
Quentin Tarantino dialogue is just like it's so good, and like I
Christian
haven't
Slater too
yeah,
is
and
so
like
good in that movie.
and like so many the cast is like stacked with like kind of like almost like cameos from like all these really good people. Like the scene with like Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken, like it's like it's such a good scene. Like I
Oh
kind of
my
forgot
god,
about all of it because I haven't seen it in so long. I also was like wondering, like I feel like Christian Slater should have been like, I mean, I know he's worked consistently, but I feel like he should have been like a bigger star. Like it seemed like he was poised to be
he
like a bigger star back
agreed.
then. Like
He's if
yeah,
anything, he's underrated.
yeah. I mean, he has the look. He's talented. Like I've always like feel like he was always just on like the cusp of like being like super successful. But I mean, I will say he has worked consistently like over the years.
Yeah, and he's been in
He,
great projects.
yeah, it was just
Have
a
you
fun.
seen?
Oh, what's up?
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. I
That's
was
okay.
gonna ask if you've seen Joe Blow's video on his like career, like what the fuck happened to Christian
Yeah, yeah,
Slater.
I did.
I
Yeah,
watched it not long ago,
yeah,
and it was actually I watched True Romance for the very first time in maybe November, December,
yeah,
and then after that, that put me onto that video, and
yeah,
it was really insightful, and I love True Romance. That movie was phenomenal. So
yeah.
that's a great watch you got to get in.
It's so good. It's like it's funny because like the way he's setting up the episode, it's almost like it's a Valentine's Day episode with these two like movies where like these couples are they're very toxic, tragic, very like violent kind of
Right.
situation that they're in, especially Natural Born Killers. I mean that I so fun fact about that. My mom couldn't find anyone to like watch me when that movie came out, and she really wanted to
Okay.
see it. She really wanted to see it, so she took me to the theater to go see it with her. There was no way. I think I was 9 or 10, 9 or 10, and there's like no way I should have
Dude.
saw that so
Yeah.
early. Like I didn't even have
So
like
violent.
yeah, I didn't have like the mental capacity to understand like everything that was going on when I was that young
Oh
watching it.
man.
So
I've
years
had some
later,
moments like that too.
yeah, years later I saw it and like I appreciate it. I mean, I can see why some people have an issue with it. Like some people think it kind of
Mm.
glorifies like kind of violence, but that is what they're kind of like speaking on though, like how the media can kind of like turn these people into almost celebrities based on the fact, based on what they're doing it to people in real life, making like serial killers almost like stars and like so that's what the movie's
You're
kind of
so right.
commenting on. And like so that's why I like the commentary in it. Both movies have extremely committed performances from everyone that appear in like True Romance and Natural Born Killers. Like it's like Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis in Natural Born Killers. Like I don't know, I don't imagine their method, but like man, they immersed themselves fully in those
Yeah,
roles. I mean,
Julia
like
Lewis is in both, isn't she?
no,
Is she?
Patricia Arquette is in True
Oh,
Romance.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
but
They
similar.
just remind me of each other.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
very much so.
But yeah, I mean, those are the ones I watched like this morning actually because I was like, I don't know if I
Okay.
can take them all last night. And then last night,
What an awesome double feature.
yeah, it was really good. And I realized whenever we do this, when it falls on like bi-weekly week, I'm always gonna be like,
Right?
and then I watch what we're covering today on the spinoff, but I can't really tell you what it is because
Right.
you're gonna. I mean, this episode comes out first, and we're trying to get you guys to
Okay.
guess what the movie is. But
I like that too.
Owen and I actually watched it together. It was a first time watch for him, and it was my pick, and he really enjoyed it. So it's gonna be fun to talk about that
Great. I'll be
later.
looking for those hints on Instagram. I always love trying to guess. It's a really cool thing
Yeah,
that you do with that.
yeah. I always feel bad. I feel like next time I should like, if you want to know, I can just tell you before we record. Like this is the movie we're covering, so I don't feel like I left you out of it.
For sure. If we think about it next time, definitely.
Definitely. And then I also watched episode 2 of Wolfpack. It's still decent. Uh,
Okay, great.
Still holding on. I will say though, if you are, and there are a lot of people online that are like this, if you're a fan of Sarah Michelle Gellar and this is what you're watching it for her because of the Buffy connection and all that, it's a slow burn for fans of hers. I think they want like have more from her, and she actually said in an
Right.
interview that like you won't really get to know what's really going on with her character until it's about halfway through. So you just have to be patient if that's what you're like kind of looking for. But I still
How
think the
long are those
idea is,
episodes?
so I think it's going to be a total of 8 episodes, and they're
Okay.
like 45 minutes. Like, they're not too long.
Right. That's
But
good though.
but like I appreciate a slow burn, and I'm the other storylines are like interesting enough for me to keep watching. So I'm not just watching it for her at this point.
Okay. Right on. So far so
Yeah,
good.
so far so good. I mean, I think everyone kind of. I mean, I've talked to other people who are watching it too, and they said like, if you can just kind of, they feel like something bigger is coming, and that's what's making them still watch it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. No
so I
doubt
think
it is.
I
It's
think that's gonna
early.
be the
It's two
case.
episodes in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I also been keeping up with The Last of Us, another good episode.
Didn't get a chance yet to see last night's episode. I'm seeing it tomorrow on
Yeah,
Tuesday for people listening.
so
Yeah. So I will.
it's quality writing, man. Like the writing's so good, and the production value is so good. Like they hasn't really skipped a beat. I just saw before we recorded, like had another surge in viewership for episode 4, like going
It's
up
been
and up
going
each
upwards,
week.
eh? Yeah.
Yeah, each week. So like that's good.
Love to
And
see
for
that.
those who are like, this also dropped today, so they don't compete with like the Super Bowl on Sunday. They're actually dropping the next episode on Friday. It's gonna come out early, so they don't have to
Smart
compete with
move.
like, because everyone's gonna be watching the Super Bowl. I know they didn't move away from the Oscars, but I honestly think that more people are probably gonna watch The Last of Us than the Oscars, sadly, because
Yeah.
Oscar viewership has gone down and down and down like each year. But yeah,
Although I wanted
yeah,
to pick your brain about that. I wonder, do you think that I mean, obviously last year is known for its big dramatic moment with Will Smith and Chris Rock. Do you think that
yeah.
will affect viewership, or do you think that it's not really going to bring more people to it that
Oh,
wouldn't have otherwise watched it?
do you think people would be curious to watch to see if something like that
Yeah.
were to happen again? Like
Yeah.
there's potentially could happen. I could see someone being like people being interested. I'm like, oh, I like wonder how they're going to screw up in some way this year. This
Right.
year, but yeah, I mean, it's all gonna. I mean, I think this time they nominated enough like mainstream movies and not just smaller
True.
films that might actually make people more interested in watching it. That's always been the
That's a
argument
good
about
point.
the Oscars. It's like I've never even heard these movies that are nominated, so like why watch? I think I've said this before. I think they should do what the SAG Awards is doing. I think all these award shows should go to streaming, and like I think they would thrive better there
Yeah.
than they will on network TV.
I 100% agree. And I bet you
Like,
they'd see way bigger numbers, like viewership numbers, if they did that,
yeah,
when they do that, because it's inevitable. Of course they will.
yeah. And
But
then I guess
doing it better.
the last thing I saw was actually I saw it first, but I'm mentioning it last. I saw it on Thursday. Knock at the Cabin. I saw it.
Right.
I know you're seeing
What are
it
your
tomorrow.
thoughts?
I know you're seeing it tomorrow.
That's right.
I won't give anything away. I'll say that's good.
Yeah, I read your review, but I want to tell viewers
Yeah,
what you thought that maybe didn't see what you wrote.
I think M. Night Shyamalan directs the hell of it. Hey, there's some real good like technical moments in it, like some stuff he does with the camera, and like he really is like a really good director. So there's that.
Oh, 100%.
There are some genuinely like tense moments in it too. Like I thought were like that works really well. Dave Bautista is great in it, just proving more and more that like when it comes from the wrestlers turned actors, like I think he might
He's
be
a
in a
league
league of his
above.
own.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. Seeing that across the board, his performance has been
yeah,
praised by everybody I've seen. Yeah.
yeah. Then Ben Aldridge, who there's Jonathan Groff that plays one of the husbands, and Ben Aldridge is one with the shorter like brown hair. I've never seen him in anything before, but I guess he's from like Pennyworth, and then he was in this movie called Spoiler Alert that came out like last year. That got a
Huh.
lot of good notices, but a lot of people didn't see it. He was great in it. I thought he was really good. But my issue with it was just the script was just really clunky. Like dialogue wasn't that
Okay.
good, and like I hate when you're watching movies sometimes where it's like this doesn't feel like real people talking. Like you can tell like this is like
Right.
scripted, and like it took me out of it a little bit.
It does that. Yeah, bad dialogue can do that.
Yeah, so I was
It's
like, I
annoying.
wanted to like it a lot more. I would still like, I guess, recommend it. I was just a little disappointed with like, I mean, because he has proven to be a good writer in the past. I know he can like be hit or miss sometimes from a
Yep.
screenplay perspective, but like, I mean, I've liked most of his stuff recently. So this was like, that's why I was like, well, we'll talk about box office. Why I predicted things to be higher than what they were, because like
Yeah.
he's been on a good streak lately. But yeah, dude, I could get past it. And, I went on Twitter and like opening night a lot. I mean, it seems like people that saw it that at least are willing to talk about it seem to enjoyed it more than I did. So maybe
Okay.
maybe you will enjoy it more than I did. I think I was just it was like first. I mean, I guess I saw Megan, so I guess Megan and this were like my first like new releases in the theater of 2023, and like I didn't know that like
Okay.
I didn't know I would like Megan by far like much more
More
than
right. Who would have
Yeah,
thought that a couple months ago?
yeah. I thought it was gonna be some just silly killer doll movie. I'm like, oh, it's actually smart. But yeah, I'll love to hear your thoughts after you see it tomorrow. I mean, you might think of it completely differently than I did, but yeah, I'm just expecting a little bit more.
Possible. Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to chat that once we've both seen it and can
Yeah,
discuss it a little bit further. I'm excited for it. I don't like have like the highest hopes. Like I'm an M Night Shyamalan fan, like by all
yeah,
means, but you go in like cautiously optimistic usually with his movies because
yeah,
you know just knowing his filmography, like you said, he's very hit or miss.
yeah,
So can't hold that against him too much, but I will be excited to chat that.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
a pretty busy week and weekend of
Yeah,
watches though. You got a lot
and
in.
I crammed that and all. I crammed it all into like Sunday and this morning, so it was good.
That's pretty good. Just curious. I meant to ask earlier, where you probably mentioned this, but where are you streaming Wolfpack on?
Paramount Plus is on
Paramount
Paramount Plus.
Plus.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
there alongside. Oh, I want to clarify again because someone sent me a message. Like I mentioned it on the show, but like Wolfpack is not a spinoff of Teen Wolf. They're not connected. I know like when they announced the Teen Wolf movie, the sequel movie, that a lot of trades actually called it a spinoff because I think it was confusing in how they announced the movie and that show. It made it seem like it was a
And the
spinoff.
same showrunner, right?
And
Yeah.
same showrunner, yeah, but yeah, not connected. So you don't have to watch Teen Wolf to watch Wolfpack. It's its own story. So you don't have to like go through 6 seasons in a movie to watch this at all.
That's
But
that's
yeah.
good. I actually mentioned I've been wanting to rewatch the original, like the 80s Teen Wolf with
Oh, and Michael J. Fox.
oh Michael J. Fox. Yeah, exactly. I've seen it once before, but
Yeah.
classic 80s
Talk
cheese.
about
I love it.
talk about doing a remake show in name only. Just like taking like, yeah, we're gonna take that
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
making a
But make
dark
it teenage.
supernatural show. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
great. All right, what did you watch this weekend?
100%. Well, I had like my watches were all pretty much spread out throughout the week. I got lots in. I got 5 movies and a couple episodes of some shows. But so after we recorded last week, I went right to the theater, saw Brandon Cronenberg's Infinity Pool, which if you're
Oh
looking
yeah.
for a theatrical watch, like highly recommend. That movie was great. There's something about him and his dad, like the Cronenbergs. There's something so evident in their movies that you're watching one of
Yeah.
theirs. They have such a signature, and it was very present. Like if you were to never know what we were watching and you were going to turn on that movie, it would
Yeah.
not take you long to be like, yeah, this is a Brandon Cronenberg movie, which was awesome. Different role for Alexander Skarsgård. He played it great. He was very much like a reserved for a big brooding hulking guy. He's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
doesn't come across as very intimidating in that movie. And of course, the lovely Mia Goth, as always, really went all out for it.
She's just like going like she's on her.
Yeah.
I know we talk a lot about like Jenna Ortega. I think it's interesting because they were both an X together, but Mia
That's
Goth
right.
and like
Yeah.
and her own right has just like really like climbed.
Really
Like
taken off. Yeah.
everyone's I read a review of that movie last week. One of the guys that reviewed it was saying that like what he loves about her is that like she's 100% like everything that he's watched her in so far, she's 100% committed to like the role. Like there is like you can tell that she
Yeah.
either lives it, like she goes deep into what the character is. I know when she did X and like when they were doing X, that's how Pearl and like Maxine, or that's new one that's coming out this year, kind of came to be because like
Yeah.
her and the director were just like talking about like let's talk backstory, let's like talk about like where these people came from, and like she really cares about all that. And you can tell like in her work.
Mm.
And I mean, I'm hearing the same thing about her in this, that she's just again 100% committed to the part.
Yeah.
Which is great to see.
Even though she does get a lot of praise, like I'm really hoping like in the future the Academy really recognizes her. Like I really think she was a top
Yeah.
contender even this year for a Best Actress for Pearl. Hard to get everyone in there with only the 5 noms, but she was definitely a top contender. She's great as always. She was great in Infinity Pool. I won't give away too much because like it's one I highly recommend and it's brand new in theaters. So, but really enjoyed that watch. Lots to think about after the fact.
Yeah.
And other than Infinity Pool, I got a nice rewatch of Get Out. Only my second time ever seeing it. I was always like kind of Get Out, kind of hard on Jordan Peele. I like.
Yeah.
Spoil, this might be a hot take. We haven't had one of those in a while. As a horror director, I really find Jordan Peele
Not that good.
overrated. So I tried to see Nope. That's what I went in trying to watch. Couldn't find on any of the streaming channels I had. So I was like, okay, let's get a rewatch of Get Out. And I enjoyed it. It was good. I was thinking this earlier because I don't know if it was like Variety or Rolling Stone, but like near the end of 2022, I was reading this list and they named Get Out like the best original screenplay of like the 21st century so far. And I thought that was a contentious choice. So it's been high after reading that. It's been high on my rewatch list, and I got another watch, and I enjoyed it. It was good. Kaluuya is awesome.
Yeah.
in it. The cast in general does a really good job, and it is a good screenplay. Don't get me wrong, but I'd say like I felt the same way about it after seeing it. Maybe I'd raise it up by a percentage point. So a good watch. What else did I get in? I got to rewatch A Dazed and Confused in, one of my all-time favorites. Just a great coming of age comedy, kind of a drama, not so much a drama, but not your conventional comedy by any means. But to anyone that hasn't seen that, it's, again, like I said, one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah. If you haven't, you have to. Yeah. Sure, homework.
Yeah. Exactly.
You need to see it.
Have you seen Everybody Wants Some?
Yeah.
Spiritual sequel?
Actually, like,
I like it quite a lot. Yeah, it was a surprise. It like really doesn't try to do anything like crazy. It doesn't try to like outshine Dazed Confused. It very much is like the same movie in a different setting with a different cast, and I thought it works really well. So I'd like to get another watch of that in just coming. I try and pair them together when I see them. Yeah, that delivered as it always does. And I got my first watch of Lamb in A24.
Good movie. I liked it.
Not much of a, not as a horror. Yeah, so you saw it, eh?
Yeah, so I saw it. So at Beyond Fest, I guess it would be. I was at 2021 now. It all blends together.
Yeah,
it was.
It was 2021 too.
I saw it there, and I saw it like before they opened it, like, you know, in limited release, and we were told right before it started, like, this is a weird one, just so you know, this is real weird. This is a weird one, and honestly, I liked it. Like, I didn't think I was going to. Like, I thought I was going to be like, you know, but yeah, I guess I should have been confident because it's A24, and they really don't disappoint.
No,
I thought it was strange, but I thought it was also like weirdly poetic in a way too. There's like some really nice scenes that were like the way they were kind of like structured and like shot, and like I thought the acting was really
shot beautifully. Yeah,
it's a beautiful movie, and like but the trailer does make it look like a horror film, like a straight horror film.
Absolutely, it does, and I was surprised.
Yes, it's creepy in its own right. It's creepy in its own right, I guess, if you're like really thinking about it. But it's not like if you're thinking it's a horror film in like the traditional sense, it isn't. But it is a good watch. But you have to like weird shit if you want to watch it.
Exactly. Like I feel like I wasn't like thrown. I didn't really get the sense that there was any curveballs in there. Just having like, I am a big A24 fan. I've seen maybe not most, but a good chunk of their movies. I guess you could say. So it was very much an A24 like typical movie, like you're expecting out of it. That being said, like their movies a lot of the times are pretty unconventional plots, and they try to paint themselves as something that they're not, and they end up being usually a little bit smarter or more intricate than you'd think at surface level. But that's a great point you mentioned about it marketing itself as a horror movie. So many movies do that. I guess like studios, whoever's doing this, paint some picture or movies to be a little scarier or like conventional horror movie, and I feel like that happened with
The Menu. I mean, I was fine with how The Menu turned out, but the trailer for The Menu makes it look like it's much more of a horror film than it is. But yeah, I was completely fine with how that movie turned out. But like, it really is like, I wouldn't say deceptive marketing. I mean, I guess if you have like if you have like an offbeat movie though like that, like, do you have to like just figure out like what angle is going to sell it the best? And I guess like that is the best angle for something like that. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I do hate deceptive marketing when it's like, we talked about that a little bit when we did the deep dive on Killing Them Softly. If you watch the trailer for that movie, it makes it look like it's more of like an action-oriented kind of crime thriller. And not to say that Killing Them Softly...
That would be disappointing.
Yeah, and not to say that Killing Them Softly is bad by any means. I actually really liked it. But but if you're going in thinking it's going to be this, and then you sit down and you're like, oh, I mean, that could be why that movie got an F cinema score when it came out, because everyone was like, this is not what you sold me.
What?
Yeah, it's one of
F cinema score.
It's one of 22 movies in F, and it was the third movie that year. I can only think of, I can't remember what the third one was, but it was Killing Them Softly and The Devil Inside in 2012 got Fs, but they're like only 22 movies have gotten Fs from Cinema Score. I kind of think Mother is one of them. I'm going to double check. Mother is one of them.
I love Mother. I had a conversation with some buddies actually that I ran into at a bar. Some other movie friends I ran into, and it was right after I saw The Whale, and we were chatting that up a little bit. And this guy I didn't know too well, he asked me what I thought of Mother. I think one of them wasn't the biggest fan, and I was like, man, like I loved Mother. And I know that we had this conversation early on. So it's funny to see that so many people, it just really wasn't for them. But I'm due for a rewatch of that one as well. But
I gotta get one in for that too. Like, it's like, I feel like
that'd be a good one to watch sometime.
I think I might feel differently maybe because I haven't watched it since it came out, and because I was
nor have I.
Like I said, man, I think I told you when I was in the theater with my friends, and my friend just turned to me and said, "What the fuck did you make us watch? Like, what is this?" I was like, I know, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Back to your point about deceptive marketing, though, like I hadn't considered that, like much so. Like, look at movies as a product, and you have your studio, and they are thinking of how they're going to pitch this, how they're going to get butts in seats that's a great
Yeah,
point. Like it is really easy to get people in if they're because horror appeals to a lot of people, but
yeah,
I feel like that can come to bite them in the ass afterwards in terms of
yeah,
like how their movie is going to be rated, which
yeah.
in turn is going to like, word of mouth is going to bring people future
And
audiences to go see it again. And if they really dupe people into thinking they're going to watch a conventional horror movie and it's not, like in the case of Lamb, I can feel like that is kind of counterintuitive.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
But
I think
I
you get
was
yeah, I think you get lucky sometimes though. Like I think with something like the menu, I think because it did well enough. It didn't make a ton of money, but it did well enough. And I think overcame like kind of deceptive marketing because it was so. I think people latched on the fact that it was so well written and so well done that they were sharing
yeah,
that
people
more
liked
about
it.
like, hey, like you, they were recommending it a lot, and I think that kind of
That's right.
helped that movie. But it doesn't work all the time because sometimes it's just like you know people don't like being lied to, man. And especially
Yeah,
when they're
no, they don't. They
spending,
don't.
especially when they're spending money on it. I mean, like they're gonna go like kind of movie theater. I mean, we're gonna talk about the whole movie theater pricing thing soon, and like it's just
Yeah.
movies are expensive, and like if I think I'm getting like product A and you give me like product B, and like I wasn't expecting B, then I'm gonna be
Exactly.
upset. I might be upset about it unless I'm like so surprised, like oh, like it wasn't what I thought but at least it was still. I
But
mean,
I
you
liked
could,
it. Yeah.
yeah. Like you can kind of get away with it, but that doesn't happen all the time. Like sometimes they just flat out lie to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So luckily, even though Lamb was not nearly as much of a horror as I thought, it didn't really bother me at all. I'd seen
Uh-huh.
not spoilers, but like some shots from the movie just by being in a couple groups, so I kind of like knew a little bit about where it was heading. But I ended up
Yeah,
really enjoying the movie. It was great. A24 fans if that haven't seen it, go see it. It was really great.
yeah.
And then my last watch, as you know, we were just chatting this, but was able to see Tar, so got to knock off one of the other Best Picture nominees that I hadn't seen yet. And after seeing it, I really do think Michelle Yeoh has is not as
This shit.
safe as I thought she was. Yeah,
I think it's
man,
between
Kate
her,
Blanchett.
and Kate Blanchett, man. I think, and Kate Blanchett's won so
Holy
many
smokes, man!
of them, like awards leading up to this. But I do think it's between them, or like you said, like we talked about the Oscar nominations, like they could split the vote, and then Andrea Riseborough
Yeah,
could just sneak
maybe
in.
she'll sneak in.
Like Kate Blanchett's a powerhouse in this movie, dude. Like she's so good.
Unbelievable, so
Yeah,
so good. The movie overall was incredible. It's on the lengthier side. It's like approaching 240, but I thought it was paced well. Really
yeah,
enjoyed the story. I didn't realize until afterwards that I thought it was an actual person that they were documenting. Like Lydia Tarr is
right, right.
not real, I guess.
I thought
So
so too
that
when I first saw it. Yeah, I was like, whoops.
amazing,
Yeah, yeah,
like fictional autobiography or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
biographical drama. But yeah, really well made movie. I still like, even though it was shot well, I'm still surprised that it's in like the cinematography
Like, Top Gun should be
category.
there. Top Gun should be in that spot. I mean,
That's
I mean,
right. Like
no
it's
offense
not.
to how it was shot because it is a nice looking movie. I
No,
just don't think
none.
like
It
I
is.
don't think it looks as nice as like Top Gun. Like,
No, exactly. It didn't. There's nothing really to show off in it. Like even though there's some cool like composing scenes where like she's in front of the crowd, like composing the orchestra, and
yeah,
it looks gorgeous, but it doesn't really have. It's not showing off really much. So I just thought it was surprising that it still landed that category. But great, deserving Best Picture nominee. Of course, an amazing, deserving nominee for Kate Blanchett as well, who was
yeah.
amazing. So yeah, that was.
Have you seen his other films in the bedroom and Little Children?
Oh, we were talking about Little Children yesterday, which was that was his last
That was his last movie.
like
Yeah.
directorial feature
It's
16
like
years ago.
there's like he has some
Big
gaps in
gap.
between projects.
Yeah. I
I
had not
love
seen anything.
so I like Little Children, but I love In the Bedroom a lot. I mean, I remember when I saw that movie for the first time and like it's kind of a slow burn, like it's almost like 20-30 minutes into you get like the main like crux of the story and like what's
Oh,
kind
okay.
of what sets these people off, but it's so well act like Sissy Spacek's really good in it. Marissa Tomei is great in it. Nick Stahl is also pretty good in it as well. Tom Wilkins.
It's a great
It's
cast.
a really good cast, and like Marissa Tomei got nominated for that movie for Best Supporting Actress, and like there was some validation in her getting a nomination because she won in like the early '90s for My Cousin Vinny, and which is like a comedy.
Right.
A lot of people kind of felt like she didn't deserve it for that because I think comedy doesn't get as much credit as it should, like by the Oscars. And I think
Right.
she said for a lot of years that she kind of like had to keep proving herself because everyone was like she didn't deserve to be there. And like when she got that
Uh-huh.
nomination for In the Bedroom, like it changed a lot of people's opinion on her as an actress.
Right.
They're like, oh, like let's pay
Well, that's
attention to
good.
her. And of course, she got nominated again for like The Wrestler, and like so she's had like a really good career like overall. but like
Oh, she's a fantastic actress.
the fact that it took that many years for them to be like, yeah, look, I can do this. I can actually do this and do it well. Like, but yeah, if you can find it, or maybe I can find it for you. Like, In the Bedroom's a great one. Little Children's good too, but I love In the
Yeah, I'll
Bedroom.
have
I
to
think
keep
it's
my eye
really
open
good.
for those for sure. Gonna
Really good.
scour the internet, maybe pick up a
Oh
copy of those. I was also surprised that Todd Field actually had quite a good amount of acting credits too. He was
yeah,
in Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut, which I was
I should.
surprised.
Yeah, yeah. Also, good
Yeah,
movie. I mean,
that stood out.
yeah,
Only Kubrick I haven't seen. I think one of the maybe one or two I haven't seen by him yet.
yeah, it's a
But
good movie. Yeah, I think. I mean, I wonder. I mean, getting to know you, I feel like you would appreciate it. I mean, I have friends that like love it, and then some that are like, no, it's not for them. Grew
okay,
on me. So when I first saw it, I didn't like it that much, but it's one of those movies that has grown on me like a lot over the years. I actually consider it like one of his best films, like now. But it took a while for me to get there.
okay,
It was a lot of rewatches of it and like looking at it from like a different angle
okay.
and stuff. Like, yeah, it's a really solid movie. I really enjoyed it.
I'm a
I do
massive
want,
Kubrick fan. I'm expecting to like it.
yeah,
Sorry,
no,
finish
yeah,
off there.
you should totally like. I think you might like it. I think it's a little out there, but and also like
Yeah,
more so Nicole Kidman than Tom. They're both good in it, but Nicole Kidman like acts her ass off in it. Like she's so good. I mean, I kind of
okay.
feel bad because I feel like this was the beginning of the end of their real life relationship. Since they're playing
Oh
like
yeah,
a couple in the movie that clearly are falling out of love. I don't know if it
okay.
did them. I don't think it did them any favors doing the movie, but like you
Clearly
can.
not.
But like from like if you're watching as a viewer, you can feel genuine like tension there. Like, all right, whatever they used it for the film, but like
Yeah.
yeah, really good performance from both of them. I think you might enjoy the movie a lot. I do want to. I want to ask you something about Get Out really quick because
Oh yeah.
I, I kind of felt silly that when I first saw it. Did you suspect Allison Williams was like in on it, like that she was like it was like okay? Because
No,
I
no.
said it to some. I said that to certain friends. They were like, "Oh, I totally knew it." I'm like, "Did you really? Or are you just trying to be smart, or am I just like that? Not wasn't paying attention to it."
I know sometimes it's you got to stop yourself from like, especially showing like non like huge movie fan friends like movies,
Yeah,
even seeing something with them for the first time. It's like hard not to like say you were in on it when you weren't. But no, I thought
yeah,
she really genuinely played off that she was not in on it quite well. Obviously, I'd seen it the one time before, so I remembered what happens with her character. But I do remember thinking, watching it for the first time, and I was looking for any clues that she was
yeah.
gonna give, and I don't really think she gave anything away
Dude,
that she
you
was in
had
on it.
all the way to the end of that, to
Yeah.
that whole moment with the keys. I was like, oh no, I mean, oh really? Oh, like, that sucks.
And the scene where he's like, Rose, give me them keys, and he's
He's-
like asked 100 times. It's
then
oh,
like
his
what
acting
she,
in particular was
what she
phenomenal.
does, that's so great in that little moment, that kind of like desperation. I'm like, I'm so scared, I want to help, and then like when she flips, and it's just like she's been on it. That like God, she's so good in that moment. I'm like, oh well, shit, I didn't see that coming at all. Like, yeah, I really
Yeah,
appreciate
and
like being surprised by a movie like that.
one
Like,
other, and I'll give it to it. Like that is a good like screenplay like
yeah,
aspect of that movie that kind of I'll get to it. Like that's a good writing aspect. There was one other detail that I just appreciated upon rewatch. I doubt I would have really picked up on the first time I was watching it, but in the very first scene where I can't remember his name, like Daniel Kaluuya's character's name, but when he meets the parents for the first time, like kind of like in the foyer of their house,
yeah,
they
yeah.
have like the first conversation, and the mom is I can't remember the actress's name either, but she's sitting
Kathleen
there.
Keener,
O'Hara, Keener, yeah,
Keener
Catherine
here,
Keener.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, Catherine Keener. She like kind of towards the end of like their first introductory conversation, she is stirring the tea cup and she kind of taps the side of it with the spoon. I was like, oh,
yeah.
that's cool how early on that she's planting those seeds.
Yeah. I guess what
Yeah.
I appreciate about that movie is what I think is smart about the screenplay is that it kind of plays on this kind of like there's the one fear that he has as a black person meeting his white girlfriend's parents for the first time. So
Right.
it could all be in his head. He could just be like, oh, like I'm just really anxious and nervous about this experience. But of course, there's like this real life like horror thing that's going on in the film.
Yes.
But it is like the social commentary there is like really it is smart. I mean, I like how he kind of played on those kind of things, so like because like
Yes, absolutely.
because that can be an uncomfortable situation. So like I really I mean, is it the best screenplay of the 21st century? I don't know. I mean, I kind of felt a certain way about that list too, but like I don't know.
It's by
Like
no
I
means
like
a bad one. Don't get me wrong. It is great.
I love the movie a lot, and like I was actually really happy when he won Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars that year. I was like,
Yeah, that's right.
that was cool, and like,
As a
but yeah,
debut, that's awesome. Good for
yeah,
him.
definitely. Oh, and
Yeah.
I will send you Nope too. By the way, I have it. So like, if you need
Oh,
to,
that'd be great. I'd like to get it in just to because I
It's
didn't
actually really,
like.
I really liked it,
Okay,
like
I'm
more
excited.
than like I thought it would.
So this is interesting. Let's chat a little bit about Us if you want to give a few minutes to that,
Okay.
because that's a movie I feel very strongly about, and this is kind of like why I feel the way I feel about Jordan Peele and why I didn't rush to go see Nope. Because I'll just start off by saying I really don't like the movie Us. Like I've only
Okay.
seen it the once, and it was in theaters. But what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on it?
So I saw it. I
Absolutely
liked it.
no judgment.
No. I liked it when I first saw it in theaters. I still think it's good. I liked it less on rewatch later. I mean, like I think Lupita Nyong'o was amazing in it. Like she's awesome in it.
We'll do a performance for sure.
I had issues with like how it was wrapped, how everything wraps up. I wasn't a fan of like the last like 10, 15 minutes of it. I guess I don't know how I would have wrapped it up myself. I just like it's
I
just like
agree. I don't know
yeah,
either.
it's. I mean, I got what he was trying
But
to say with like a lot of things. It's just I don't think it all worked in the end. But I still think it's good. I mean, it's interesting though. Like in order of like the movies he's released, or the order I kind of like them in. I think I might, depending on like I have to watch Nope again, but I might move Nope to second and then push Us to third, and still keep Get
I
Out
think that's
number one.
yeah. I think you wouldn't be alone in that assessment.
Yeah,
Like I feel like generally Us is his least well regarded one,
yeah,
although it's still got genuinely like good praise and stuff by critics and whatnot. It's still the average moviegoer. I feel like that's seen all his movies usually puts Us at the bottom, even if they do really
yeah,
like it. Yeah, and I'll be interested to see where I Nope in there because like just having seen Get Out and Us, it's very much a clear
yeah.
like for me, but would love to check out Nope here sometime soon, just so I can at least have an opinion on it and talk about Jordan Peele. And just to give him some love, like I do think Jordan Peele is like a genuinely hilarious. He's one of my favorite. Him and Keegan Michael
Oh,
Key,
like
two of
yeah,
my favorite working comedians. I
I
like
love
him just
Key
more
Bill
as a comedian than I do as a horror director, but
right. I could.
still got to see Nope.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I also give him credit too because at least he is putting out like original ideas for the horror genre. So there's that.
that's a good,
Um,
great
but
point.
I just think you come out the gate like that with Get Out, and it got I think it only has like one bad review on Rotten Tomatoes, so like one person didn't like it. So like
Yeah,
I mean that's quite the like debut, right? And then like now you have
absolutely.
all these like kind of expectations are up to here about well, what do you got next, man? I think in the grand scheme of things, though, I think he's kind of done a pretty decent job of like kind of like when he hasn't made a complete clunker, for me. He
Right.
still
No, exactly.
they've all been good. So like I'm cool with like what he's done so far. I just I agree with on Us though, and I I
Yeah,
do like Nope a little bit more. I'll be interested to hear what you think about Nope after you see it,
definitely. We'll have
because
a
like
conversation about that hopefully soon.
yeah, definitely.
Just
What's that?
I was gonna say, just for fun, I was gonna look at his scores for Get Out. He's got 85 Metascore for Get Out. Has an 81, so pretty similarly
Similar.
ranked, even though I wouldn't put them anywhere near each other. And then Nope's got a 77, so a little bit lower. Interesting.
Yep. There we
77
go.
Metascore. What were you about to say?
Well, I guess they all have in common is that they all did really well box office wise too. They all made money. I forget
Yeah,
Nope is
that's
and Nope
right.
is his most expensive one. I forgot how much it is. It was cost to make, but there's more effects and stuff in it, so it makes sense. But it still made money for the studio. Curious to see what he does next, though. I mean, like I just want to be in his brain to kind of see like what
Yeah,
other ideas he has, like
I'm gonna look it up right now, see what he's
up
doing.
or if he has anything coming up. But like, yeah, what we did last week, guys, is that we started this thing with the box office, kind of predicting it. So we wanted to like engage with like you guys and then try our look at predicting the box office. So we started it back in the cabin, and I don't know if you remember. I'll tell mine. I said it was going to open to $30 million, which is I guess very ambitious. And Jackson, what was yours? Was like 23,
24 to
27,
27, 23 to 27 is where I put it in that ballpark. So we weren't that far off. I don't even think 30 was like by any means like overly ambitious. I totally could have seen it going there, but the
yeah.
numbers didn't exactly hit it on the mark, did we?
No, we were very off. So I was way more off too. It opened to 14.2 million. It's still opened at number one. And to M. Night Shyamalan's credit, because he put this out there on Twitter, it's his seventh number one debut overall,
Wow.
and his fourth with Universal. So I mean, he has self financed his movies with Universal since The Visit, and that's created quite the windfall for him because they don't cost a lot to make, and they end up making like they've all made money, even if like people are divisive on certain releases. Like they've all done really well. So good for him. I think the number one movies were Sixth Sense, Signs, Village, and then Split, Glass, Old, and now this. And you know, and give him credit too. All the even his films that did not open at number one, some of them opened well. They just didn't hit number one. So I guess that's kind of where the bragging rights kind of stop because it did get a C cinema score, which kind of indicates that like legs are not going to be great. It almost got beat by 80 for Brady, and I know we joked that like maybe we should have predicted that instead.
That opened too.
$12.5 million.
Damn, that's close.
It was a combination of like they marketed really well to the demo, but then a lot of theaters across where it opened wide, they actually only charge matinee prices for like the whole day for that movie to get the demo to come out more for it, and it worked. There was a moment, I guess, on after the Friday numbers, they were so close they actually thought 80 for Brady was gonna like top it. But then not gonna have ended up getting some solid like Saturday night business, I guess.
Okay.
It came out ahead. Let me see. I have a few like screenshot. So our boy JC Mark with the movie said it was going to open to 18 to 22 million, which that actually was a fair guess too. It was actually tracking. I found out later, originally like 18 to 20, and then it dropped like right after we recorded our thing. It dropped to like the mid-teens. Okay. So I was like, I guess if we would have waited, we would have made it more accurate. My boy at David Park on Instagram, $40 million. So even more than me, he was way off.
Oh, yeah.
At Darren Movie Review said 20 million. At Donnie 217, 25 million. Jordan at Jordan underscore M85 was the closest, $10 million. So it was just like pretty decent. And then our boy Kurt over on Instagram, $34 million. We all kind of, I guess we had like, very big expectations for what the movie was going to do. I mean, you haven't seen it, but like, I mean, have you kind of heard like word of mouth is for it? Like, it would make you think that like it didn't open as well as it could have.
I watched Chris Stuckman's video review on it, which didn't give any spoilers. He seemed to he spoke positively about it. Other than that, the only person I've really had the chance to talk to about it that I know that have seen it, that's reviewed it. I've avoided all sorts of spoilers and all that, so I don't really know what people are divided about. But interestingly, though, enough, critics and audiences alike are pretty much in tune. It's got a 63 Metascore, and on IMDb, it's got a 6.4 out of 10. So everyone seems to agree on what they didn't like about the movie, it seems. Yeah. No, I don't really know what everyone's issue is with it, but that's still not a bad score by any means. Like that's pretty much in line with a few of his movies. Yes, Old, I think, is somewhere in the 60s as well.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a divisive filmmaker in general. So
yeah, I guess the one thing, I think it costs $20 to $25 million to make. So I mean, if you count like what it makes domestically and what it might pull in worldwide, I think they'll be fine. I'm sure Universal.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure Universal was expecting a bigger number because I mean they did promote it pretty well. I thought like it was. I mean, people knew it was coming, so it wasn't. It just. I mean, like you said, he's a divisive filmmaker sometimes, and like his misses are pretty. They're big misses, and people still remember them. I mean, for as good as people like, people are like, oh, I love The Visit. That was a good comeback, and I love Split. Such a great comeback. People still remember like Lady in the Water and The Happening. And After
Earth.
Yeah.
Airbender. Yeah. He had that streak.
People don't forget. So like he's always gonna have that like attached to him, unfortunately.
That's right.
But you know what? I mean, they still keep giving him money to get. I mean, they clearly like him as a filmmaker, and especially Universal still wanting to work with him. And like it seems like he's kind of in tight with them. Like maybe has a deal with him to make movies.
Yeah.
So like I'm pretty sure they're happy with the overall like outcome.
And back to your point about Jordan Peele, like here's M. Night is another guy that's putting out original horror. Not everyone, it's easier said than done. A lot of horror and even movies in general these days are in some way, shape, or form a reboot, sequel, remake, and he's consistently made original horror movies. So you can't take that away from him. It's easier said than done. So
I agree. I'm glad that you said that about Jordan Peele because like I know a few people like when they were watching Nope, they're like, this feels like Jordan Peele adjacent to M. Night Shyamalan. Like that's how like that was
Oh
the vibe
yeah.
that was the vibe they got from it when they were watching it. And I was like, I can kind of see that. It's
Okay.
very
Yeah.
M. Night
They
Shyamalan
are kind
esque.
of similar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I guess another box office news too. Avatar worldwide has overseas jumps ahead of Titanic. It's now the number three biggest movie overseas behind the original Avatar and Avengers Endgame. I think it's like
Wow.
1.5 billion dollars like international markets. Of course, it's already grossed over like 2.1 billion worldwide total. So no more hate from me on here about the movie. It's making this change and like just leapfrogging over a lot of good movies. I think domestically, it's approaching number nine spot where Jurassic World is currently sitting. I think Jurassic World made 653 some odd million
Okay.
dollars, and Avatar is almost there domestically. It's continuing to move up the chart. All of us that said they wouldn't make $2 billion globally, we're still eating
Yeah.
crow. So,
Shut up.
so
That's
sorry,
right.
sorry. Don't doubt James Cameron, guys. That's what we can learn from this box office endeavor with
On the
him.
note of Avatar, it happened to see a little piece of news that was dropped claiming that Avatar 5 is going to be set on Earth. Sorry for the
Oh,
spoiler warning, but yeah,
oh, really?
interesting. I
Oh,
didn't think they would ever take it there, but that seems to be the direction they're going with the future sequel. So interesting little. We'll see how all that unfolds. I still say take these one at a time before you're planning so many in
yeah.
the future. But clearly, people are showing up to see
Interested in it.
Avatar and
Yeah.
want some more. So yeah,
Like, I mean, because this is clearly like repeat business. This isn't just like people just like, oh, I'm just gonna go see this for the first time. Like, I feel like
right.
there are people going back to watch it multiple times. Like, I don't know how you
Has to
can
be. Yeah.
do that for 3 hours and 12 minutes. More power to
People got
you.
some open schedules, I guess.
I guess I got no lives. It's I mean, but yeah, like I said, any win with that is a win for us at the movies. So like,
That's right.
I'll take it. So I'm kind of doing this like off the cuff for you because
Sure.
we still have box office that we can predict for the coming week. I didn't think anything was opening
What
because
is opening?
for super. I guess maybe just I want to make sure our next big release. If you just load
Magic Mike's Last Dance.
Magic Mike's Last Dance.
February 10th.
I wasn't gonna, but it's a pretty decent size release because like the first two movies make money. Again, like I did last time, I'll give you like a frame of reference for what the other two open to, and
Yeah,
then
let's do that.
I'll kind of see what you think. I'm just gonna pull this up really quick because they actually did make money. A lot of ladies went to go
They're
see it.
fairly popular. Yeah, I haven't seen any of the two. Is Steven Soderbergh directing the third one as well?
Yeah, he is, and I
Did
think
he
that's
do all
why
three?
he didn't direct the second one.
Oh,
He was a
okay.
producer on it, but like first one's good. Like first one is like a pure like Steven Soderbergh movie that just happens to have like eye candy for women or men if you're into that. So it's there. It's
Okay.
almost like an auteur kind of take on like that kind of industry. And like
Okay.
I think what kind of people like bug them a little bit. It's there is the whole like male exotic stuff that's going on, but it doesn't dominate the whole movie. So if you went to go see that, being like,
Okay.
oh,
Talk about
I'm gonna like,
deceptive marketing.
yeah, it's deceptive marketing.
That's what I would
It
have thought that whole movie was about because
yeah,
I've never seen it.
it's not wall to wall like that.
Okay.
But okay, so the first one came out God over 10 years ago. That's crazy. Magic Mike came out in 2012. It opened. Hold on, let me just pull this up to $39.1 million on its opening weekend. It ended up making 113.7 million domestically. So you can kind of see based on where it opened and where it ended that it was really front loaded for people that
Yeah.
rushed out opening weekend. Ended up making $167.2 million worldwide. So it made some money and then some. And then Magic Mike XXL came out in 2015, of course.
Subtle.
So because it opened over the July 4th weekend, had a different opening than like opening strategy than the first. Over the 3 day part of the weekend, it opened to 12.8 million, which is like it's a big drop off. But you have to understand too
Yeah.
that it kind
Was
of
it
opened like
competing?
it kind of opened like the way the 4th of July kind of fell. Some of the weekdays kind of played like weekends basically. So like
Okay.
if you're counting like the 3 day total plus what it made from the holiday, the opening looks a little bit better than 12.8 million. But we're just counting the 3 day because that's this is
Yep.
a 3 day weekend here too. Made $66 million domestically and 117.8 million worldwide. I heard from people who have seen early screenings of it that it's not bad. This was also supposed to be an HBO Max release. They changed at the last minute. I guess Warner Brothers saw it and was like, "Yeah, this is a theatrical release."
I can respect that.
Yeah, it's
I'm not a
taking
fan of the hybrid approach, so
me either. It's taking advantage of like an early kind of like Valentine's Day start, so it'll have like that weekend, and plus it'll probably kill it on
that
Tuesday. Like it'll
is a
kill it on the
great point.
14th.
It opens up 4 days before Valentine's Day. That's a huge factor, which I don't know why I wasn't considering that. Just out of curiosity, when did you say the second one was released?
2015. So,
2015. So the second was, holy shit, it's
So
been
it's
8 years since the second one?
Yeah, that big gap.
Wow. Damn. Those seem like so much more recent to me.
Yeah. I'm gonna be conservative. I like kind of went overboard last week.
I'm feeling conservative too, but let's hear what you got.
I'm thinking I'm gonna go an even $20 million opening weekend.
Okay.
And then I can see it doing like really well on the 14th, like on that Tuesday. I think on Valentine's Day it might make pretty decent amount of money from like women that get their boyfriends to go take him to see it on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But yeah, I mean, 20. I think 20 is fair. I'm gonna go with $20 million opening weekend.
I think 20 is fair too. So recently I printed out a little schedule of 2023's releases. It's got a bunch of like some big ones too, and some stuff that like we probably never heard of, but it doesn't really look like much else is going to be out around that time. So I think it might have like the advantage of
taking advantage of the weekend,
bringing them, of being like the only mainstream release like weekend. So like I don't disagree with 20. Man, that Valentine's Day is going to be a factor. But I'm sure. So is it Valentine's Day on that Tuesday?
It's on a Tuesday. So I mean, if we're just counting if you're just counting like the
3 days,
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I mean that might be like the best like way to look at it. But I can see having a boost on Tuesday though.
Just shot in the dark. I'm going to meet you just underneath and go 17. See how that goes.
All right, Jackson's at 17 million. I'm at 20.
20.
So everyone will do this again. I'll put this on Twitter, Instagram. If you're listening and just want to send your predictions for Magic Mike's Last Dance, I thought we were going to have to like skip this week. I was like, oh yeah, it's a Super Bowl. That's another factor too, because movies drop on that Sunday.
That's right.
So it's going to have to make a lot of its money Friday, Saturday. I mean, people are still going to go see it Sunday, but it's going to have a huge drop off from like Saturday to Sunday because everyone's going to be watching the Super Bowl on Sunday. But this is a totally different movie. But when a Stranger Calls remake came out over Super Bowl weekend, that made it to $20 million. So I mean, it's possible that it could like high. I'm still going to keep 20 though. I'll keep 20.
Yeah, no, I'm going to keep 17 as well, but that's a good point. So there's actually, it's cool. Like this week, even though it's not crazy, or that week that we're talking about, it's cool that there's some interesting factors that are definitely going to play in hand. It's not just a conventional, straight up regular weekend. It's going to be Super Bowl Sunday and Valentine's Day that week.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you mentioned the Super Bowl. I'm not like the biggest football fan, so it didn't even cross my mind, but I know there's a lot of talk right now. This could be just a quick point. As a Scream fan, I want to hear your opinion and your thoughts on. So we know that I can't remember the studio. Is it New Line?
Studio is doing Scream. Paramount. Yeah.
So they're putting out a $7 million Super Bowl ad. Yet apparently they did not
pay Nev Campbell.
Nev Campbell's salary demand. So interesting. I wanted to see what you think about how they're spending their money on that movie.
As a Scream fan, I'm like excited that it's going to get a Super Bowl ad because that shows like confidence from the studio that like they really think they have something and they want to spend the money on it. On the other hand, though, that was the first thing I thought when I saw that. I was like, you have $7 million in your marketing budget, and you couldn't give like her what she wanted. And there's all this speculation about how big her role was going to be in this one. There's some people that are like, it was like a small cameo thing at the end that kind of sets up what she would do in the next one, because I think they want to make this like a trilogy of films. And and then there were some people that said she had a bigger part in this one. And then other people were like, no, it was always going to be about Sam and Tara and like kind of establishing the new characters and like fleshing them out. So this is like their movie. And then we would kind of set up Sydney again with them and Seven. Either way, though, it's just like what I've always disagreed with is like they didn't pay her worth. But like I said, they plastered her over all the marketing when they released Scream 5 last year. Like she's front and center. She's front and center on like the poster, the group shot poster. They use her a lot in the trailers, and like what? She's only in like maybe 15 minutes, if that. If you get, I mean, it could be shorter.
Yeah, I think it might even be. It's not a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's all kind of like she has that one introduction scene where she's talking to Dewey on the phone, and then the rest of it is like during the climax of the movie. it was enough to please fans of like Whitney and Nev Campbell and so it was fine. But yeah, that was the first thing. That was the first thing I had. That was like $7 million in your marketing
Yeah,
budget, and you could like
interesting
yeah,
to say the
like
least.
clearly you have the money. They also had a really good year. I mean, even like I'll say a year and a half. Like beginning during the like when we were still going back to the movies during the pandemic, A Quiet Place Part Two made money for them, and then they carried that on through like beginning with Scream last year, and the Jackass Forever made money, The Lost City made money, of course Top Gun made all of their money.
That's
So
right.
like I was like, you can't like back up the Brinks truck and give her like a little bit more to like come back. Like
Makes me wonder like what maybe that has something to do with what they're planning on or what they're financing right now or what's in production at the studio right now and where their
yeah,
kind of money is spread out at. I don't really know off the top of my head. Your sense of what movies belong to which studio is much better than mine, so I don't have much of an insight as to what they might be working on right now. But
yeah, I would say
somehow
that
that might
like
have something to do with it.
yeah, I would say though. I mean, if they were just going to use her in a way that didn't make sense, I'm glad that she's not back for this.
I
Like and
agree.
like
I
and
agree.
like and what I'm like liking from like been releasing TV spots like left and right online for this movie. And granted, it's a lot of TV spots, but they don't really give a lot away. So I like kudos to them for like giving you just enough to be like, I'm excited for this, but not
Right.
telling you, not giving away all their secrets. They're doing a good job of like being like, hey, I think they are aware that we don't have Sydney, we don't have Nev Campbell, we need to like establish this as its own thing now. And the fact
The new
like
generation.
yeah, and like they're doing a good job selling it that way, so I'll give them credit. I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
it's nice to have a horror film have like a Super Bowl spot. I mean, that doesn't happen all the time. They don't really spend that kind
That's
of
a good
money
point.
on movies like that. Oh yeah, I'm happy for them. I did
Expensive
feel some.
commercial.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
30 seconds. It's $7 million for a 30-second spot during the Super Bowl.
Jeez.
So we're gonna get. I hear we're getting Scream. There's gonna be another Dungeons and Dragons trailer. I heard Transformers is getting a trailer during that. We're
Oh.
gonna see our first another look at the Flash, with like a bigger look at the Flash during the Super
Oh, that'll
Bowl.
be interesting.
We're gonna get
That's
another. We're
only a few
gonna
months
get
away.
Fast X is gonna have a TV spot.
Oh.
They've been dropping their legacy trailers like all since last week for like each movie of the franchise to like get people pumped up for like the new trailer. I can just tell from your
That's
reaction
something
that
we've
you're
never
like,
talked
I'm
about.
over it. I'm over it.
I'm so over Fast and Furious, man. I would love to.
So
We should save a date to really chat about that
yeah,
franchise sometime because it's
we really should because
a big one.
maybe like when like closer to when like the new one comes out because I have like this weird unconditional love for that franchise and I probably shouldn't
My
have.
best friend does too. My best friend loves everything to do with those movies, even though like I find there's movies they make that I'm like, you should hate this as a fan of
Yeah,
it. He's like, he can't get enough of it, loves it. So I get exactly what you're saying. I
yeah,
know all about it. I'll be seeing it, I'm sure. But yeah,
yeah. I mean,
no,
yeah. Glad that you were like we haven't talked about like that franchise before. Yeah,
right.
some people feel differently about it. Some people like are like me and like whatever. Give me more cars. Give me more absurdity. I'm okay. I say that because I think it's fun. I do miss it being. I'll just say this. I do miss it being grounded in more reality. Like I think the first one is still my
That's
favorite of the bunch.
oh
As, like,
yeah. I love the
like
first one, man. Even
like
though
just
it's a
watch
rip off
Point
of
Break.
Point Break,
Point
which
Break.
I love Point Break, so I love Fast and Furious. So that doesn't
Yeah,
bother me so much, but
yeah,
I agree with you on that one.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, guys, if you want to go to the movies and you are going to AMC theaters, if you
Oh,
happen to live if you happen to live in like I think New York, Chicago, and Kansas City are like rolling this out first, but they are going to start charging basically prices for premium seating at AMC theaters. So AMC patrons attending cinemas after 4 p.m. will be able to pay different prices based on their proximity to the movie screen within the auditorium. This will be broken down by value sightline, standard sightline, and preferred sightline sections. Standard sightline seats will be the most common in auditoriums and available for the traditional cost of a movie ticket. Customers will pay less for front row seats via value sightline tickets, and preferred sightline seats will typically be in the middle of the auditorium and cost slightly more than standard sightline seats. If you're an AMC Stubs member, you don't have to pay extra for preferred seating. You're already paying for like the monthly like thing to go see movies. Everybody's mad about this. I'll just say that. I could even like
everybody.
I guess I could cherry pick some of the comments that were on my G reels, but there are a lot of people that were like upset. I'll just read a couple. Hipster Zombie Joint
Yeah, I've seen
underscore 101. Wow, so they are just trying to go out of business. Someone just wrote girl bye with like the hand clap emoji. And this is why people will stop going to AMC theaters. wow, the theater experience has been meaning less and less to me as the years go by, but this is the kind of absolute corporate greed that will make me literally never visit an AMC again. Greedy schmucks. And they go on like that.
So I
how do
did
you
some
feel about it?
scrolling today. Um, so I'm trying to like stew on it, like from like a financial perspective, and like trying to put myself in their brains as to why they think it's a good idea. I think there's pieces that I don't yet understand as why they decided to go with this. Obviously, as a moviegoer and someone really appreciates the theatrical experience,
Yeah.
I think it's a terrible idea. I think it's going to alienate fans. I can't really see it paying off for them, like in a way that they're not doing this because they think it's not going to make the money. That just obviously doesn't make any sense. So they think there could be pieces here that we don't understand. But in
Yeah.
general, I pretty much agree with everybody else. I don't like it. Luckily, I don't even know if we have AMC in Canada. I've never even seen an AMC
I
theater.
was
We
gonna
got
ask,
Cineplex
yeah,
in town.
I was gonna ask you that because I was like, is there even one there? Like, so
I don't
this one would
I
even
don't know
apply to
if
you.
it's in Canada. Yeah, it doesn't really apply to me. Only if I'm
You're like, I'm
going to the
sitting pretty.
States.
No one's gonna pay for preferred seating here.
That's
That's
right.
great.
So it might be in like some bigger cities where I haven't like seen a movie in. Like I don't know, there might be AMC's in like Toronto or Vancouver and stuff, which I haven't been to Toronto a couple of times, but it's really far away from me. I've never
Yeah.
been out west, so that might be something over there. But around here, that won't affect me at all. But I'm feeling from my American friends, like must have an AMC. I'm
So
assuming
like, so
probably have a bunch
I
of theaters over there.
yeah, we have. So I think for us, it's AMC, Regal, and Cinemark are the ones that are over here. Then we also have like Alamo Draft House in downtown LA, which is kind of like if you're a movie fan, that's the one you should go to. AMC is the closest to
Okay.
me. Unfortunately, it is the closest to my house.
Hmm.
I am an
You must be
AMC sub A-list member, so it
I
won't really
I
matter.
figured.
Yeah, so this won't matter to people like me or my little brother who's also an A-list. It's actually worth it if you go see, because sometimes I can't get press screenings for everything, and then like if I need to just go see something like randomly during the week, I mean, you get to see as
Yep.
many movies as you can, and there's no limitations on what you can see. You can see something in IMAX. You can see like all these like premium kind of like movies, like so
Max around here, man. That's
so,
awesome.
so
That's
it's
cool.
worth it. But like they try to compare this to like because they do this for like live theater shows like Broadway shows. They have preferred like
Yep.
premium seating. They also have done it at concerts, sporting events. That they're comparing the movie. They want the movie going experience to be like an event, and that's what they're trying to like say it is. But I love movies just as much as the next person. But like, there's no way I would compare this to like going to go watch a football game live or like a
Mm,
concert even. Like it's just like it's not the
right.
same kind of experience. Like, and
You're right.
I kind of think it's tone deaf. I mean, I know we've gotten back to where people are going back to the movies, but I think it's tone deaf, like where it's not 100% back, and people are still kind of going through rough times a bit. And to be like, hey, come to the movies, but also you need to pay this much more if you want like a really good seat at our movie theater.
Right.
I think that part of it kind of like rings false. I mean, like what they said today, and this is why I think they're wrong because like clearly from what I've seen on Twitter and everything, everyone's like, no, this is stupid. But they said
Yeah.
Nightline at AMC more closely aligned AMC's seat pricing approach to that of many other entertainment venues, offering experience-based pricing and another way for moviegoers to find value at the movies. While every seat at AMC delivers an amazing moviegoing experience, we know there are some moviegoers who prioritize their specific seat and others who prioritize value movie going. So they're saying that there are people that will be willing to pay to sit in the middle. So I mean,
I
would
would
never,
be
I
one
mean,
of those people, which is why I'm pissed because I
yeah,
would fall trapped to that.
because I would never want to sit in the front. I mean, only example
I
I can come up
hate.
with off the top of my head, but I saw the Blair Witch Project in the front row at a movie theater. And so imagine
Um,
just like shaky cam and like trying to like pay attention. It
yeah.
just made me sick.
And you're
So like
watching it like
it's like
this.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, never again. But yeah, I get why people are upset about it though. Like it does seem pretty tone deaf, like for and no other theaters doing this. Like like
Yeah. Well,
now I did hear
there's a
outside of like
point.
the U.S. at the U.S. like some theaters do it outside the U.S. But like, well, we don't. I mean, doesn't
Huh.
mean we have to. Like,
That's right.
yeah,
One thing that just popped in my head though is like I have a feeling this could be aimed at trying to boost their subscription growth. Like maybe this is like comes from a
yeah,
corporate level where they want to see some growth in their numbers and their subscriptions, and this very well might be the catalyst that pushes people towards their subscription program, which I didn't even know AMC had, which is pretty
yeah.
cool. We have one for Cineplex too that for like 10 or $12 a month, you get a free movie ticket every month and discounts on like concessions and stuff.
The
And
food, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you can pick your seats pretty easily on your phone and whatnot, and it sends it right to your mail.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. It's handy if you see enough movies a year that it's worth paying the subscription. You get a ticket every month for it. I find that's worth it. But yeah, I have a feeling that could be the
I sus-
inspiration.
I suspect you're right, because
Yeah.
if I was a person that still want, if the and this is what if AMC is the only theater in my area and I still want to go to the movies, and it's like, all
Right.
right, like, am I maybe I should fork over the 20 some odd dollars a month and just get their stubs program, and I can go see as many movies as I want in the month, and it might just pays for itself, so it works out. Might be harder at certain areas where even where I live, like, there is a Regal and like Cinemark, like they're all kind of close, and a lot of those
Okay.
people,
That's nice.
a lot of those people are like, well, like fuck AMC, I'll just go to Regal. However, I know they're dealing with like bankruptcy too, so who knows how long they'll be like around. Like,
Yeah.
but there's other options, I guess, for certain areas, and then maybe in other areas there isn't. I think they feel like they can get away with it a lot because they are the largest movie chain in the U.S. So, like, I mean, they know what they can do. So, I don't think it's a good idea, and like, I don't know if you're like their corporate, like, in their corporate offices today, and you're online, you're like, oh, I thought more people like this.
They're
Like,
probably
no,
like, oh shit, people are not a
there were
fan of this.
there were like journalists from like the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, that were even people that, like, Variety wrote the story, and so did Hollywood Reporter, but there were writers that were sharing that story, and they were like, "This is absolutely like the wrong move." Like, they were like making it public, like, "No, this is like not something we agree with." Like, and no one asked for this. No one was sitting at home and like, you
No,
know what? I want premium seats at the movie theater, like, for extra money.
when
Like,
yeah,
yeah, not at all.
definitely
So
unprecedented, not popular. It doesn't seem. One thing, like if there's anything positive to say about it, I'm thinking like for those situations where you're late getting your tickets or it's like a big release and you're going to buy your ticket and it's almost sold out. There's only seats in the front couple rows. At least
yeah,
you don't have to pay full price for them. That's kind of nice.
that's
It
true.
sucks to find yourself in that position, but I'm
Yeah,
sure that won't be like what gets taken away from this.
I know,
But
right?
small positive, I guess.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
you have to look. I mean,
thumbs down,
yeah,
bro.
I'm not. Yeah, I think what we're trying to say is like, even like, I mean, I even say this as someone that has a membership. I think it's like and it won't affect me, but like, I think it's a really poor move. I mean, especially like, and like AMC knows, like, they went. I mean, AMC was dealing with like bankruptcy issues before the pandemic. That all kind of came out because of what happened with the pandemic and them having to close and them
Right.
having to be like more forthcoming about their books. But like, they were in dire need of help even before like theater shut down. So it's like just a weird
Right.
flex to like to do this. Like, it's a really weird like thing to do when it's
So
like,
soon
dude, like,
after.
yeah, like, come
Yeah.
on, dude, like, they feel like this is what people are gonna want to do to go to the movies. I don't necessarily think that's true. It'll be interesting
I
to
think
see
it's
like
more of a
what.
gamble than they think it is. Like this can really bad move if people like unify and coalesce and actually actively go to other theater chains where they have the options.
Yeah,
That really spell financial hardship for them if people say this we're not buying into this.
yeah,
I'm thinking like right about it being a weird time to flex that
yeah,
hour.
I
I
agree.
don't know that is smart. Uh, Side question here: is AMC like the theater chain in any way related to the
Oh,
network
network?
AMC?
No, no, no. They're different.
Not at all.
Yeah,
I never
no,
thought so,
yeah,
but I was
yeah.
curious. Just it's not often same exact
And
name.
by the way, since you don't have AMC, or you don't think you do in Canada, I would be pissed off. I had to pay like extra money for like a middle seat. There's this Nicole Kidman ad that they run like before every AMC movie, and it's just her like walking through an
Oh,
AMC theater, and like, it's so dramatic, like silly. I mean, people to go back to the movies. They paid her a lot of money to do this. First of all, Nicole Kidman's probably
right.
never been to an AMC ever in her life. Ever in her life. AMC is known for playing like 15 minutes of trailers. There's all this like pre-show stuff, and then you think your movie's about to
Okay.
start, and now before your movie starts, there's this fucking Nicole Kidman commercial that plays like every time you go to an AMC, and it was funny in the beginning, and now I'd be more upset if I had to pay extra money to like also sit through
Just to
that.
see that shit.
Yeah, it's really
100%.
annoying.
Cineplex is big on their pre-show too. It's a whole like part of their marketing and like part of their brand. They have
Yeah,
pretty extensive pre-show, like where they interview actors and have like trivia, and then that's on top of the trailers you get. I always enjoy the pre-show. I always try to get there before and see it all. Would feel a little bit less excited about it if I was paying like however much it is going to be more like $2 or $3 or $4 more to sit
yeah,
there,
for
not be
like
as
before the movie even starts. I mean, like the
yeah,
Arc. There used to be a movie theater called the ArcLight. They unfortunately closed during the pandemic.
arc light. Yeah,
Uh,
that's
they were
unfortunate.
they. I mean, they were cool because they were more about the movie experience. They would only show like 2 or 3 trailers, and then the movie would start. Like, I mean, I don't mind a lot of trailers, but like I know some people are like kind of like 15 minutes worth of trailers is a lot. The
Mm.
start of a movie. I mean, I guess the only thing about that is that you can be a little late if you want to be. If you're like, hey, my
Yeah,
movie starts at 8:30, like, no, I got like a 15-minute grace period. So there's
that's
that.
right.
But
I've taken advantage of that before. I feel guilty
yeah,
walking in when the trailers are playing, but
yeah,
it is nice. It also kind of makes it hard to like plan. Like if you really try to like for me, like you just got a busy schedule. Like I'm sure you do. Like you try and like time when you're going to
yeah,
be getting to the theater and leaving. It kind of makes it hard when there's such a long pre-show. Always
yeah.
know how much time to allot. But
I agree.
on a side
Uh,
note related to theaters, we have a briefly so our main city like where I live in. I'm from like a community like 20 minutes outside. It's like known for we have like the largest like armed forces base. It's like in the
mhm.
American provinces or the Atlantic Canadian provinces, and they actually have a theater on just one screen. And it's actually for sale right now. I just thought how cool that would be to like be able to get your hands on and own a theater.
Movie
It would be
theater.
super fucking cool.
There was like a brief
Yeah.
moment when like everything shut down, and there's this place called the Rhodium, like in by us, and it used to be like kind of like a. It is still. I mean, they reopened it a bit. It was kind of like a swap meet, but like you could actually.
Okay.
This is when the whole like drive-in thing became big again because people were going to they were going to that. I mean, that to go see movies instead because they couldn't go to like a movie theater anymore because they were all closed. There's a
That's
brief
right.
moment where a couple of my friends and I were like, "Yo, we should like try to figure out how to buy the Rhodium and like open like
Oh,
drive in."
that'd be
It
so
was,
cool.
yeah,
Imagine playing whatever you want.
I know exactly. It was one of those like pipe dreams. We're bored. There's nothing to do during the pandemic kind of thing that kind of came up, but it felt like a cool idea. That would be kind of like fun to have, like just an old
I
school
would
like
drop
drive-in movie
everything
theater.
I'm doing to
Yeah,
own a movie theater and rights to films and like just show general audiences like whatever I wanted to put on for the day would be
yeah,
just so awesome.
yeah. I
Much
agree.
easier said than no doubt. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And now
yeah.
also just staying on the topic of like companies pissing people off. Do you have Netflix?
Oh yeah, I don't know
Do
for how
you
much longer.
do you share your password?
Since I don't share it to anybody, I'm on my parents' account. I always have
Yeah.
been since they had it since I don't know 2000. When did their streaming really take off? Like early 2010s.
Yeah.
It's been my parents have run it, and I find myself as I'm sure many people have in the last few weeks or so wondering if it's something I'm going to have in the future, or if it's going to be something I buy for a few months and then when I get bored of it, cancel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. As of now, I do. I
Yeah.
do.
So
How about yourself?
oddly enough, I do have Netflix. It's the one streaming service that I don't share a lot. Everyone else wants my other
Okay.
stuff. Everyone else wants to like
Oh,
I seriously like pimp out my HBO Max, Hulu, Peacock, Disney Plus.
uh,
They
dude, those
all
add up. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
they've gotten like when I log in sometimes to like those accounts, I'll see like new profiles out there. I'm like, I forgot I gave it to that person. Like, like, and then and the way like my friends text me to ask me to like use it, it's almost like they're asking for something illegal. Like, yo, let me get your like Peacock
Well,
password. Like, okay, cool, man.
it's
But
no, it is a flex to have that many, like for sure.
yeah, I guess Netflix wants to like crack down on it because they feel like it's hurting their bottom line because they say over 100 million households they think are involved in some kind of like password sharing of Netflix. So users of the streaming giant are taking to Twitter to express their frustrations. They were pretty mad about Netflix's new rules regarding password sharing. According to Netflix Help Center, accounts will remain shareable, but only within one household. This will make account holders have to identify a primary location for all accounts in their home, and they all need to sign into their home Wi-Fi of their primary location at least once every 31 days to make sure their device won't be blocked. This is going to make it a bit tricky for users that travel often and want to use the service on other smart TVs, or even those who split time in different households due to various circumstances. That was like the main argument about like
Talk about tone deaf.
why this won't work, and also why should I have to log into my account in 30? I mean, like maybe there's nothing I want to watch in 31 days. I don't know,
Exactly.
like that could be totally fair. I think like I don't know, like it's. I mean, next day they quickly walked back on it and said like, "Oh, we weren't supposed to post that yet." Like, I can tell they were
Yeah.
just. I think they just saw how mad everyone was and like, were like, "Whoops!" Like backtrack.
I wonder if they're like seriously considering maybe altering their approach on this because like I don't again like with the AMC news I have not seen a single person any way shape or form seem to support this
Yeah,
and if they're trying to save their bottom line I mean protecting and respecting your customers and wanting them to keep coming back is
yeah,
should be top of mind for them and I can easily see this is no surprise I'm sure that obviously there are going to be maybe not a majority, but a substantial amount of people that choose not to renew or make their own account. Like I'm very well
yeah.
considering not because just for some context for people who might think that's weird, like when I are both opponents of physical media, I have
Right, right,
close to 600 DVD 2 feet away from me that I can go. That's normally where I get my watches in anyway, except for like
right.
Netflix original like movies that come out like You People, for instance, this month. That's not where I do a lot of my movie watching. So I'm kind of wondering, is that really worth it for me when I've had it
Yeah.
for free all these years?
And that's fair. And
I
like
don't know.
I also think it's interesting, like, hey, none of the other streaming services are making these moves to like crack down on password sharing. And yeah,
They're
Netflix,
watching though.
I know they are, but they probably, I
They're
mean, if they
waiting to
saw
see how this goes.
if they saw the reaction to this, they're like, well, maybe we shouldn't. We were thinking about it, like maybe we should. Well, I will read a couple of things on Twitter that I thought were funny, like when
Yeah,
this
that's what I'm saying.
this one girl at my Waterloo was like, Netflix managed to piss off, checks notes, college students, divorced families, extended families, just about every fan of every canceled show, people on vacation as well. One false. And then
Hundred
this,
percent.
and then Dana said, when Netflix dies, I'll stand on their grave and I'll be dancing. And then
Holy savage.
at City of Mun said the funniest thing about this whole Netflix debacle is that they think password sharing is what's losing them money when it's the fact it's when in fact the dwindling selection and canceling popular shows after like one season. That's a good point too. They've been known to like lately, especially to cancel stuff people are watching after just one season. They
Yeah,
claim they've never canceled a popular show though. They said every show that they've canceled has not been doing well. I don't buy that.
I get. No, like, is there anything that in particular that you think is
I'm
lying
trying.
about with that?
I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head. I'm gonna come. I'll come back on it because like there's certain shows that like
Yeah.
and also this is why people like stepped away from network TV so much because it was harder with live ratings. Like when live ratings weren't doing well, a network would be like, "All right, I'm gonna cancel the show after 5 episodes," and you don't give it time to like grow and breathe. And that's why
Right.
streaming was so cool because it seemed like they were letting their shows like take the time to grow. And now it's like flips. Like there are a lot of network shows like live ratings suck, but other people are watching those shows in other ways. They're watching them online. They're streaming them like days later. So now network TV
Yep.
is like, no, I'm going to give it a full amount of time to see like how the show is doing overall across all these different platforms before we decide to like axe it. So like that's it's crazy that they're doing that model now when they never used to. Like they've all switched positions.
On that note, you're so right. It's funny to see the almost complete 180 that streaming has really the effect that streaming has had on television in general over the last like 10 years. Because like, remember you were more aware of this probably at the time when streaming became popular. Really a big draw about streaming services like Netflix being an early one is that it's really phasing out like traditional cable television and networks and putting everything in one area and really cutting down on how much you have to spend on cable TV on that package to view all
Yeah.
these different channels. And now it's really turned around and now you have all these different competing streaming networks where they have exclusive deals and rights of different content and you got to have this, that, and the other one to watch what you want to watch. And it's really kind of negated that original purpose or
Right.
benefit of having streaming in the first place.
And by the way, if I didn't get these for free, I wouldn't have as many of them. I would be more selective about which one I paid for.
That's how I have to be.
Like I wouldn't have all of them for sure. And like, and that's the funny thing too. Like, remember when these all kind of when Netflix started and there's only like Netflix, Hulu. People started like cutting the cord. We're like, we don't want to pay for cable because cable's expensive. But now there's so many streaming services. If you are paying for all of them, you are basically almost paying what you were paying for cable back in like
if not more.
if not more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, that's how they sucked you in, and then they're like, oh wait, now there's like 15 different ones you can have. Like, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, but yeah, I think another weird flex and another weird like company being tone deaf about like kind of what their audience is and what they want. And, you're not hurting for money, Netflix. I mean, I know you said you lost revenue. Like, I get it. But, like, you're at the end of the day, like, you're really not like hurting. You're
No,
fine. You're
exactly.
gonna be
And
okay.
they got to just like have some more faith and give some more time to their projects, like the ones that you say that canceling, like over just because you don't get as many viewers as you wanted to on a project, cancel after 1 year. Like, give it 3 or 4 years for this show to build an audience. You're gonna make your money back over
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean? Like, they're just not giving it enough time to some of their projects. But Netflix, I don't imagine as many, if any, financial issues. So it definitely comes across as a
Yeah.
tone deaf choice for sure. Sure, though, competing companies are happy to watch Netflix be the guiney pig and are going to be
I
watching
know.
intently how this
Like,
goes. Yeah, it's yeah,
like, we'll let them roll in the mud for a little bit and see what
yeah,
happens before we jump in. All right, so just a couple more things, real quick, because I know you said that you
yeah.
were a fan of Dexter, and this news kind of came out last week, but it wasn't official, so I didn't want to
I didn't hear it till today. Yeah,
I didn't want to post it yet, but
went under my radar.
Showtime Showtime in general is doubling down on like their franchises, and like some of their biggest franchises are of course Dexter and show Billions, and they announced today that Dexter is getting a prequel series. Also, Billions is going to get like 4 spinoffs. They're really going in all in on that show.
Whoa, wait,
Yeah,
4
yeah,
spinoffs?
yeah. They said the Billion
Wow,
spinoffs are set in Miami, the self-proclaimed crypto capital, and London, the world's financial hub. And they also have offshoots that are coming out called Millions, about up and coming financiers, and Trillions, a soap about the ultra rich. So they're going to be like, they're really like going all in on that concept. And then
interesting.
in addition to the Billion spinoff, this is what I think me and you both care about. A Dexter prequel is also in the works, which will tell the title character's origin story. It's going to be set in his hometown of Miami. In addition to the origin story, it will also incorporate stories of real life serial killers of the time. There, the sequel series Dexter: New Blood, which set a Showtime viewership record, is likely to come back, but they set at a later date. First, because
Okay,
when the story first dropped, they were saying that show wasn't coming back. I think they still
right.
wanted to kind of keep Michael C. Hall and all them like kind of in the fold. I mean, it's weird to like not go ahead with the second season of a show that like broke viewership records for you.
I know, weird, like from like a financial aspect, absolutely, but that's like where so much property runs into issues is when studios and corporations that own these IPs need to milk all the money they can out of something, and it really just
Right.
ruins what made it special in the first place. Like, I was really hesitant. I know, preface, you've seen like the first original 8 seasons of Dexter?
Yeah. So like I was excited for New Blood because
Same.
I don't know if you're a part of this club, but like the final episode of Dexter is considered by a lot of people to be like dog shit. Like a lot of people don't like like a lot of people don't like it, and I'm one of those people where it was like it almost ruined like the whole show for me. I've
I
calmed down.
agree.
I've calmed down in like the years since, but I was just happy with New Blood just because like it ate up for that the way that ended, and I was
It
fine with
saved
like
a lot of face.
yeah
I really
yeah
was impressed with New Blood more, and I was
yeah
really timid going in. Uh, just for some context, so I had watched Dexter for the first time. Oh, Dad and I watched it together. One of the few shows we've watched like through and through together. That and Breaking Bad. We watched
yeah.
Dexter. When did Dexter wrap up? Like, the 8th season came out in
Uh,
2014,
I can
later
check.
2015.
Let me double check for
Yeah.
you.
Anyway, we had started that and like had watched it till the end, and I hadn't seen it since like it's 2013. Right? Yes,
Yeah, I won't
2013. So
take
I
your
hadn't seen
yeah.
it since 2013, and then I rewatched the entire series in anticipation for New Blood. I showed my roommate. We watched all Dexter together. My buddy Cam too. He hadn't seen it before, so we watched some episodes together. So it had been a good 7, 8 years since I'd seen it, and I remember, but I was 15 when that show wrapped up. So like my sense of was good and bad really
Bad,
hadn't
yeah.
really been developed. So I had fond memories of the show overall and didn't really have any gripes with how the show ended. I was interested going into my watch. Was in the camp that you belong in, or that you're
Yeah.
in, with in regards to how the show ended. I was like, yeah, quite disappointed with like the last couple seasons in general.
Yeah.
Then I went into New Blood with some trepidation, but I really liked what I was seeing in the promo material and stuff. And I was just genuinely happy to see Dexter on screen again. And
Yeah.
I had a
Yeah.
feeling that they were going to make up for that disastrous season 8,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I feel they did.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think again that they could just be. I think that could have been like not a fluke, but almost like really as far as they really need to take that show before they can wander into the same problem. So I'm not as excited for that news as I thought maybe I would be, that they're thinking
Yeah,
about season 2 of New Blood, and the prequel show too. I don't know how I feel. What about
yeah,
you?
and they also said like initially, and on top of that, the network is exploring spin-offs about the origin stories of other Dexter characters, including the Trinity Killer played by John Lithgow in the original series. So it seems like they're just like picking anything from this IP to kind of see what they can like spin off into a new thing. I agree with you. I mean, sometimes I just wish they would just let shows right off to the
Let a
sunset
good
and just
thing be,
and let
or
us like remember it. Let us remember it fondly. Like I
right.
mean, like I said, you got lucky with New Blood. Like, I'm kind of glad this got announced like a long time ago, and I'm glad it hasn't happened yet. They announced that they were trying to bring back True Blood, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't want you to, because it didn't end well for me. I liked how it started. The
Okay.
first few seasons of True Blood is amazing, but
Okay.
the last few seasons were like a clusterfuck, and I was like, I don't need it to come back. Like, I think like I want to remember the early years of that show that were good, because like like
Yeah.
that's where I kind of wanted to. I
And
offer new
that's
ideas.
Dexter
Like,
for a lot of people too.
yeah, it is. I mean, like, there's a sweet spot for like Dexter fans. Like those first few seasons are top-notch
The
quality
first
television,
4,
or yeah, like brilliant.
oh, so
And,
good.
but we'll see. I mean, I'm open to it. Like, see how it is.
I'll probably be watching it. We'll put it that
Um,
way.
it just seems so crazy for both of these shows. Like for Billions, to be like, yo, we're gonna do like 4 spinoffs, and then with this, like, we're just like you just start with one, like just
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying. Like,
go one, and like
it's talk
I don't
about
know,
going all in before you even know that there's an appetite for this shit. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
And then I guess the one of the last things that we can talk about that it kind of happened today, if you're a 90s horror movie fan, you're getting a sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer, in the works with Sony Pictures, who were involved with the first two. And I guess the biggest selling point is Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are in talks to return. They were the only two people that survived I Know and I Still Know. Unfortunately, our girl, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, did not survive the first I Know You Did Last Summer. Uh,
I'm a
uh,
little hazy on that. I
yeah.
forgot what the
Arguably,
outcome was.
dude, if you ever, I don't know if you listened to it, but we did like a 25th anniversary episode for that movie last year, because it turned 25 in October of last
I
year.
think I
And,
did. Yeah.
and like, he has arguably one of the best like horror movie chase scenes like of that genre in that movie. Like, if you like, it's like one of the best chase scenes. And like, and honestly, like once she dies, I like mentally check out. I'm like, I don't really care about the rest of the movie.
Is it the one in the is in the ship or the
No, so that's
loot locker or whatever?
Jennifer Love Hewitt gets chased through the ship. Sarah Michelle
Okay.
Gellar, Helen, her starts when she's in the back of the cop car, and he kills like the cop in the alley, and then she has to like kick the window out and like
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, that is
and,
such a good scene.
and then she runs to like to the department store where her and her sister work, and like he chases her through there.
Yeah.
And then she runs through the alley and she's almost going to get away. And for some reason, she turns around and he's not there. But when he turns the other way, he's like right in front of her. And he kills her like
Right.
he kills her right in the alley, right as a parade's like walking by. So like it's a really like
Yeah.
the scene itself is cool and like really like shot well. Yeah, one of the best horror movie chase scenes ever. But yeah, I guess what they said was it's still in early development, but Jennifer Caitlin Robinson, who did that movie Do Revenge on Netflix. A lot of people like it. I haven't watched it yet, but that
Nor
movie
have I.
that movie they said is like kind of like an homage to like 90s movies like Cruel Intentions. Like that's why a lot of people really enjoyed it. He's directing it. Then Leah Kendrick is writing it, and apparently they pitched Sony on this idea that Sony really loved. They wouldn't say what the plot is, but Sony really loved the pitch, and Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are still working out their money deals, but apparently they were given the pitch too, and they were totally on board. They really liked the idea. Sony is kind of comparing it to like what Paramount did with Scream. Like they wanted to be like a legacy sequel and not like
That's
they
yeah.
they didn't want to reboot it. They want to like do like a passing of the torch kind of thing that like what they did with Scream. Of course, that paid off for Scream and Paramount, and they're hoping that this will pay off
Yep.
for them as well.
I super on board with seeing, in particular, Freddie Prinze Jr. back on screen. I don't remember the last thing I would have seen. I don't know what his work has been like over the last few years, so that's exciting. The chance
Yeah,
of seeing him again on screen, and Jennifer Love Hewitt as well too. Like them both, so super excited
yeah,
for that. I read the book that it's adapted from in like the early high school, late middle school. As far as I remember, it's pretty much beat for beat like what the movie is, but it's a good read. And that author actually has a couple other books that would probably do well to be adapted into horror movies too. I just
Yeah,
can't remember his name off the top of my head.
yeah. Lois Duncan wrote the book.
Yeah.
They both play like mystery thrillers.
Yeah.
I think the one issue that the author had with the movie is that the book itself isn't like violent. It's not really like a slasher movie
Oh,
or like a slasher take whatever. It's more of a mystery.
okay.
Uh,
Okay.
and I think like that was like Kevin Williamson. He tried to sell I Know You Did Last Summer before Scream, and no one would buy it because they were like, this genre is dead. Like no one's really seeing these movies. And
I'm
then
remembering this from your video now.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then it sold them on Scream, and then like that was to mention, and then every studio was like, well, can we get our Scream? Like as
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
like Columbia TriStar like went and like immediately I Know You Did Last Summer,
Okay.
and like I said, like when we did the anniversary episode, like Scream came out and made a lot of money. It didn't come out the gate making a lot of money. It was like a word of mouth hit,
Yeah.
but it also could have been a fluke. And I think I Know You Did Last Summer was so important to like that slasher revival because it was the second movie to come out. It was like, all right, is this like a fluke or is this like real deal? Like these movies are back. And when that movie came out, it was number one for 3 weeks. Like when it came out, it was like a huge hit out the gate.
Shit.
Yeah, like, and it kind of hit at the right time. Like all those people in that movie were like popular in that moment. Like Jennifer Love Hewitt was on Party of Five. Sarah Michelle Gellar, she's in the middle of like Buffy season 2. It's like
Right.
at the height of that show's popularity. You know, she does Scream 2 in December of that year. Like there's a lot. They were all like becoming super popular. So it was like a really cool moment for like those type of
Absolutely.
movies. I'm not, I I'm wondering what if I want from them to like, do I want them to just focus on the first movie and disregard Still Know What You Did Last Summer and definitely disregard
Right.
I'll always know what you did last summer. It went straight to video and it's not
There's
good.
a third. Oh
The
my
third one.
god.
You know what though? I will shout this out. There are some people that love the second one that think it's still fun, even though it's fucking ridiculous. Like it's really ridiculous. Like so bad. I mean, revisit it if
Yeah.
you need to. Like, it is fun though. It's a
Sometimes,
fun slasher movie,
yeah.
but like
Sometimes
it's
those
not.
movies can age well, even though like ridiculous, like shitty slasher sequels can like be fun to go back to. Like a lot of the Friday the 13th movies are like that. They have some really
Yeah,
good rewatchability. I give it 20, 30 years. I don't know if that's the case with I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, but
yeah,
interesting to it'd be good rewatch though.
yeah.
No
Like
doubt.
now, I mean, if this does well, I wouldn't be surprised if we get like legacy sequels to like Urban Legend and like The Faculty, like all those movies from like the
Yeah.
late '90s, early 2000s that like kind of like forgotten a little bit, but like they definitely have like a rabid fan base of people that love them.
Mm.
Wouldn't be surprised if you heard later that they're also getting. I mean, the legacy sequel's clearly in. Like it's not enough just calling it like a sequel. When I guess when it's that many years apart, like
Yeah.
it's like we have to go back to the
That's a term
beginning.
I
Like
like. I
yeah,
like the legacy sequel title. Like
yeah,
that just makes sense to me. Something I'd really like to see them tackle again would be like just like late '90s horror. Event Horizon would be something I'd really like to see explored.
that movie
That
is
movie's fucking awesome.
fucking underrated. It's really underrated. Like
Yeah,
I thought it did well when it came out. I found out later that it flopped in theaters, but like it definitely has a cult status now. It's actually and it's genuinely
yeah,
scary. Like there's some stuff in that movie that fucking freak me out, man. It's so
yeah.
scary. Ugh,
And they
yeah,
trimmed it down quite a bit. Like there's a lost director's cut out there that we'll never see that had a lot more like fucked up footage in it that would have
yeah,
been just really cool to see. But no, that's a property I'd really like to see again. I
yeah.
mean, I'm as much as like I usually like shit on IPs getting dragged out and like the lack of originality in Hollywood that there seems to be, like I'm kind of on board idea of like some of these '90s movies being brought back again because like it is just such a special time and like the history of cinema and like really one that hasn't really been matched since 2010's horror was pretty good too actually, but there's just a lot of good IPs in the '90s that would make for good to revisit that I think
To
would be
kind of revisit
done
them,
well.
yeah,
Depends on how they go about doing it. So I'm
yeah,
like excited for that. I'll probably get a watch. I'll definitely watch what
yeah.
you did last summer, and as we get more news about the sequel because it's one I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, and also I'll give kudos to. It's very rare for women to direct movies in the horror genre, and the fact that this is getting directed by a woman is also
Oh,
a pretty
do we
big
know
deal.
who?
Her name is
That's
Jennifer
awesome.
Robinson. Yeah, that's really
Huh.
cool. I mean, like, wait, I was watching a documentary where they were talking about Slumber Party Massacre. It's like a horror movie from the '80s, and it was a big deal that like a woman directed that because the slasher genre has like gets a lot of like gripes because they think it's misogynistic and stuff like that. But if you have like a woman
Hmm.
directing it, it's coming from like a different lens when like a woman tackles like a slasher movie and kind of
Of
like makes
course.
fun of those tropes. So like, and women love horror too. So like, yeah, they also be able to direct like horror movies. So that's good to see that they're kind of doing that, and I'm excited to hear whatever the pitch was. I mean, like when you excite like a studio based on like an idea, like I'm excited to
Yeah,
hear like what the idea is going to be. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm down for more horror movies and more legacy sequels, especially
absolutely.
if they're
That'll be
good.
something to keep our ears open on news for.
And I'm just gonna throw this in like the last minute because we brought it up last week. We don't have to spend like a lot of time on it. Uh,
Yep.
we brought up Swamp Thing about the from the DC stuff last week. Uh,
Right.
I just want to kind of hear your thoughts on like James Mangold is in talks to direct it, and then the reason I think the talks are going well is because like Mangold shared a picture of Swamp Thing on his Twitter, and James Gunn
Uh-huh.
retweeted it. So talks must be doing decent. Those of you,
Definitely.
James Mangold directed Logan, Off the Line. Like he has a very diverse filmography. He's sure he'll be doing Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Uh, I had some people say he doesn't seem like because Swamp Thing's gonna be more of like they said like horror esque take on the character.
Right.
People say when they think of James Mangold, they don't think that, but no,
I
I
don't.
think I don't
Oh,
either. But I
I
think of what
agree.
he did with Logan though, and like how well that turned out.
Absolutely.
That makes me happy that he's even in talks to do it. Uh,
Eh,
they're
I'm
looking
not
at
tripping.
they're
He
looking at
he.
A-list talent like that to do their projects. I think
That's a
that's
good
fine.
point. Uh, I just saw this, so I should know. But for the reason I'm second guessing myself, he did Ford versus Ferrari as well, did he not?
Yep, he
Yeah,
did.
which I shot a rewatch of that like a month or two ago. Uh, I so just like initial thoughts because I hadn't heard this until our conversation. I love James Mangold as a director. I feel like I would not be as excited if he wasn't doing Indiana Jones because what I'm just mostly excited that is that he's not clearly as of yet not stuck like with Disney like a lot of great directors like do a Disney
Right,
project and they stay kind of doing Disney stuff. So I like
right.
that he's like doing his piece and that we have yet to see, but hopefully like kind of doing other property. So cool
Right.
that he's never would have guessed in a million years that he would have been attached to even really any of this DC stuff. But I think
Yeah.
it's great that they're eyeing up good talent like him to do Swamp Thing. Like you said, wouldn't have guessed him to horror guy, but I'm interested to see what he brings to the table if that's what ends up happening because
Yeah.
he's a great filmmaker. Off the Line is one of my favorite musical biopics, and
Yeah.
that's a genre I really love. So
It's so good.
yeah, and Logan, one of the best comic book movies of the last 10 years,
Yeah.
if probably ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you must be, I'm sure, happy to hear that too.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm pretty stoked on it. I mean, like, and I'm glad like this. I mean, this kind of sets the tone and example of like what kind of filmmakers and writers they want to work with them, like moving forward
Yeah,
on their projects. So that is what I'm most excited for. And then of course we'll have more to
great
talk about
point.
on it once it becomes like official because I know that it's just talks right now. But like once they officially kind of something in stone, then like we could probably talk on it more. But like yeah, I'm just glad
Yeah,
that's the kind of talent they're looking at. So like that's
it's in the right direction.
yeah, more
Absolutely.
gives
It's
me maybe more optimism for like what they're doing. Be feel a little bit
yeah,
better.
no, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's
uh,
nice that they're hitting the ground running with their new slate and
yeah, I
eyeing
agree.
talent right off the bat. Look
Yeah.
forward to.
Well, yeah, man. This
Yeah.
is another fun-filled show full of exciting news, and
We had a lot more of stuff to cover today than I thought we would have like
yeah,
a day ago. So that
yeah. I
was
mean,
a
a lot of
busy
it
Sunday
happened like
morning.
a lot of it happened like way last minute, guys. So like just to like
Yeah.
give you some context. Like we thought maybe we could like do a little bit of this and then do our in Bruges like anniversary thing, and that was like
Right.
more stuff started happening. I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. But we know we did promise you that it is still happening. I should have mentioned it.
Absolutely.
I should have mentioned it as one of my watches because I did watch that too as well
Oh,
yesterday.
okay. Right on.
To get
I don't
familiar with
know.
it again. I hadn't watched it in like a few years, so it's gonna be exciting to talk about that movie with you when we do that anniversary episode. Uh, yes, that is still coming, guys, and we know we like teased it last week, but it is still on the way. As soon as
Definitely.
I know Jackson wanted to watch it again to have it like fresh in his brain, so like we're gonna be recording that this week as well. Just to FYI.
Exactly. It turns 15 on the 8th of February, and we will absolutely be on our episode to cover that anniversary here soon and hopefully have it up for the week's end or whenever we can get it out. So stay tuned for this episode and our In Bruges special anniversary, along with other content that we will be having on our social media over the week, guys. You can always find us on Twitter and Instagram at Back to the Blockbuster. And you can always listen to our episode wherever you get your podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Good Pods. Spread the word, tell your friends. It's always a great time to movies with you, my friend. Look forward to hear what we got in ahead of us over the next week and just share some news next week with our viewers.
Yeah, and once again, fucking smooth outro, man. This is why I don't want to do it. It's so good.
I'm happy, man. I think we got a good dynamic. I love your
Fucking
intro,
effortless.
so I'm happy to do it.
Thank you. Thank you. We all have our strengths, and like I got the intro, you got the outro. It's a fucking partnership. I love it.
We're rolling. We're rolling.
Yeah, we're rolling. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Let's catch you next time.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.